everyone. Welcome to the latest installment of MSP Business School. And we are doing this one on the road today. So, we're going to put up a nice still shot of Tim because he's having a couple camera issues this morning, but he's here in spirit.
Yeah, I am.
We've got
I'm
Robb
here.
over here as well. And, we're here at the final day of CompTIA as we record this. And yeah, for those of you that are listening that went to the show, I'm sure y'all had a blast like we did, but man, I'm about ready.
Yeah,
I'm done. I'm done.
I'm tired.
There's a reason why everybody says you shouldn't be in Vegas for more than 3 days.
Yeah,
Because
and
it's
I'm looking
100%
at the 2 hours we got to work the booth in a few minutes, and I'm really wishing that was about an hour shorter.
Yep.
I think we've seen most everyone we need to see. But with that being said, kudos to the CompTIA group, team. They did a great job with this event. It's always one of the fun events each year. It's an opportunity. Generally, every vendor is usually at this show that you want to network with. Taher, we're going to hold him to coming down next year.
Yeah.
We're going to introduce him in just a moment.
Maybe I'll have a budget by then.
Yeah, but it is it's usually a fun time, and come on, Vegas is a playground, right? So everybody has a blast.
Yeah.
Robb, Tim, what are your thoughts?
No, I've had a great time so far. A lot of vendors, right? A lot of vendors, but a lot of MSPs. It was a really good conversation so far. So we've had a fantastic time.
Yeah, we went to Chicago last year, and this is, I don't want to say double, but it's pretty close to double the size of last year. So it's good turnout.
Very strong attendance. Any COVID hangover is over.
But, that is true.
Robb, when you were talking about having fun too, I was thinking of the movie Old School.
Yes.
Where the next day he goes, I had fun at Frank the Tank goes, I had fun at the party, and the guy's like, yeah. Everybody knows you had fun.
Yeah.
The cops, the people in the neighborhood, your ex-wife, everybody knows you had fun. And Robb, you might have resembled that a little bit.
A little bit.
I don't know, man. Brian, our booth got bombed. Somebody came by and put a bunch of stuff. There's a pumpkin over there. It's like all sorts of stuff. We got bombed last night.
Nice.
Booth bombed, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody's probably done with our nonsense, as they usually are at this stage.
Usually are.
Now we're going to move on to the more important and more pressing piece. We want to introduce our guest because that's what people really come for. We want to introduce Taher Hamid. I still didn't get it right, Taher, and I apologize for that. But Taher Hamid,
no worries.
Who's from MSP Camp, and he's going to share with you some interesting approaches for MSPs to really bolster their marketing and do it really in a very budget-friendly way. So I'm excited to hear a little bit of what Taher's got going on with us. And, we want to also note that Taher, how we came to meet him is through the ConnectWise Pitch It program. So he's another person that's part of Pitch It with us. And I'd wish him luck, but, there's $70K at stake.
Yeah.
Not too much luck.
Yeah.
We want you to show
third
well.
place luck.
Yeah, third place at a state.
Get in the top three. Get the top three.
Yeah.
But Taher, why don't you introduce yourself and a little bit about your background to everyone?
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. I've listened to y'all's podcast. Because I had a podcast since I was like researching other podcasts, and y'all were always the first. Like when I search MSP, it's like you guys, and there was like MSP Unplugged. So it's kind of cool that you guys have a podcast and it's doing well. So it's cool to be on it.
Yeah.
I guess on like my background, so I started 7 years ago at a small MSP in Lakeland, Florida. So it was like 3 guys in a warehouse. And like when it rained, nobody could be on the phone, like cliche startup MSP. But ironically, they've been around for like 15 years. They had a decent client base. I think they had like 35 clients or something. And it was just my father-in-law. I was going to graduate school, and he's like, I hated my job in healthcare administration, which is what I was getting my master's in. So I was like, oh, this was a terrible idea. So he's like, why don't you just like come like post on my social media? So started there 7 years ago, and I had no idea what I was doing. And the first year was a lot of learning, a lot of mistakes, a lot of wasted time. And then by about year 1, we really started to hit our stride and understanding how marketing can play in an MSP, and really realizing it is a marathon, not a sprint, no matter how much money you throw at it.
Yep.
And we've since grown from 3 people in a warehouse. Now we're up to 28 staff and like a state-of-the-art data center with like a gym and a ping pong table and a movie theater and all this cool stuff. So it's just been a really cool journey to go from like no marketing budget, no idea what I was doing, to like now like large marketing budget, a whole team, a large MSP making, you know, a really good amount of money at this point. So it's been a really cool journey. And it's been really, really fun.
Very cool.
That's awesome. You know, those small MSP stories are always my favorite. You know, when we look back at the early days of it, I always said we had the most fun before it became profitable. And the minute that happened, the game changed. But you know, I remember our startup days, you know, our favorite things were just, you know, Friday lunch. You know, we'd pull everybody in off the road, make sure they came in for Friday lunch, and we'd do some training in the afternoon, and it was fantastic. You know,
nice.
Too much fun. But
yeah, it's funny you said that, because like we were making the same money when we were 3 people in a warehouse. Even up until we got to like $1.5 million, 2 million, it was like the same amount of profit. And I'm like, wait, we've added so many clients. And Tom, the owner, he's like, I know, but it's like, you got to buy the things, you got to add the people. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is a grind. But then after that mark, it seems to.
I always called it like steps, right? You're always one guy ahead or one guy behind on your staff, depending on where you were in the revenue tree. But there was about 5 minutes where you're actually sized right at each step.
Yeah. Yeah, and this year we've really hit our stride with like size and income. Like I'm seeing the reports from last year and this year. I'm like, okay, like this is, I guess, where all the fruition begins. Like it all comes to the front. So.
Kudos on that, man.
So I got a question for you. What would you say was your number one mistake in that first year? Like, you know, what were the things that you're like, oh, this was a terrible idea, and you had to, you know, reiterate and move forward and figure it out?
Probably not learning enough. It's probably like my biggest mistake. Yeah, I just tried like, I'm like, all right, well, yeah, I'll just like start cold calling. And it's like, okay, well, how do you do a cold call? Like, how do you systemize a cold call? You just cold call? Like, you know, I was just failing at that miserably. And I was like, all right, well, let me try email marketing now. And so I just cold email blast people, and that wasn't working. And so instead of figuring out like, well, how should I do these things? I just started doing them.
Right.
And doing a lot of them. I mean, I think I got social media pretty early on, because that just kind of, I think everyone understands social media. It's like you post content that you want to engage with people. You invite people through. So I didn't learn enough. And so I just started doing stuff in a non-systematic way. So it was just like, you know, everyone says the random acts of marketing, which now as a mature MSP, I love random acts of marketing. As a mature marketing, because now that I have the foundation built, I can do random acts of marketing all day. And it's just adding on to the, you know, the marketing engine we have. Whereas before, if that's all you're doing is the random acts of marketing, then you're in trouble. And that's what I was definitely doing year one. So learning, really getting in and understanding like, well, how should I do this and what should I do? You know? Yeah. So that was probably my biggest mistake. And then, you know, once I started to do that and really invest more time, it's like the whole spend 70% of your time sharpening the knife before if you got to cut down a tree. And so once I started doing that, when I was doing the things, they paid off more.
How long did it take you to get to that first, or over that first hurdle?
Well, I got like lucky at month 6 because we got a client on from cold calling. And so that actually worked. And I got an ROI. So I was like, okay, I paid for some of my salary. So I felt less pressure on me because I like really wanted to do well. So I was like, okay, well, that pays for a good amount of my salary. So then I invested more into like marketing and like, okay, well, now I can take a little more time. So like month 13 is when we like added a client from marketing. We got like a small business award that I had like done the PR for, right? I applied for it. I found that there was this thing, I applied for it. Like that's marketing. These awards don't fall into your lap. You have to go find them.
Yep.
And then once we get it, I did the social media posts. I tagged the people involved, and then I sent a cold email blast to my whole list. And she's like, hey, I saw you got the award on Lakeland Chamber. And then now I just see this email. She's like, can we talk? And then like, that was my first like big client, like month 13. And then it was like all of the other piece I started to put in place, like all the SEO. I spent a lot of time on SEO, all the Google reviews, really posting a lot of content. I've always been a content person. So posting a lot of informative content that's not just salesy, you know, going to all the events. I went to so many damn events. It was crazy. It all just started to click. And so like every month after that, we've added a client ongoing since about month 13 of me being around.
Wow, good. That's pretty impressive.
So, you know, we think of MSP Camp and we think of what you're doing today. And, you know, one of the biggest things we hear, and I think there's quite a few biz tracks even going on here at CompTIA this week, around how do we amplify our message? How do we get out there? How can we, of course, acquire more customers? Tell us a little bit about, where you kind of intersect with that process.
Yeah. So MSP Camp is really it's really built to help early me. It's like, that's why it's so easy to market MSP Camp, because I'm marketing to myself.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, if I would have just known this day one, like if I could have just spent my whole first month in MSP Camp, we would have gotten to that 13-month a lot quicker, and we would have grown. We wouldn't be at 5 million right now. We'd be at 10 million.
Hmm.
It would still be a long play. There's a lot of stuff in marketing.
Mhm.
You have to create the case studies. You got to do the video testimonials. You got to do the stuff that doesn't seem like it's an immediate ROI, because it's not, but it's the collateral you need to close the deals, right? So there's so many pieces when it comes to marketing. So I was like, okay, how do I make this simple? And that's what MSP Camp is. So here's all of the resources and guides that you need to know day one when you start marketing your MSP. It's literally a checklist. And so that would have gotten me up to speed quicker. Like, okay, this is a lot of stuff. It's going to take a lot of time. Whereas a lot of marketing people, when they start MSPs, they're like, well, I don't want to, I already posted social media today. I don't know what to do. Right? Because they don't. And the owner of the MSP doesn't know what to tell them, which I understand, because they don't know either. They didn't do the marketing grind. So now they have all the resources to go, oh, we've missed all of this. We haven't done competitive research. We don't even know what SEO is. We don't have any Google reviews. So they can go and systemize the things they need to be doing on an ongoing basis. And that's basically all free on the site. Like, that's all the free stuff. And then the other major challenge, I think, in the MSP industry in general, can we cuss on this podcast or not? It's okay if not.
Yeah, it's a loose podcast. Let's put it
Okay.
that way.
All right. Like, the thing that is throughout the industry is there's just so much shit content. Like, it's just everywhere. You look at any MSP social media, their website, the content they're using, it's like, this is all shit. Like,
Just look at your LinkedIn feed.
And I ask MSP owners, I'm like, are you happy with what you're posting? And they're like, nope. I'm like, then why are you doing it? They're like, I don't have time. The agency does it. It's like, so you're paying someone $4,000 a month to post shit for you? That's not very helpful. And we wonder why, there's no ROI on outsourcing your marketing. But content takes time. Like, it takes a lot of time. So from my perspective, I was like, I'd rather just specialize in making the best content I can and give that to the marketing teams of MSPs. And in some cases, it's actually the owner of the MSP, but I usually recommend the owner, like, don't do this. It's too much for one person for the owner to do, because he's got all these he or she has all these other roles. So we post content specifically how it's worked for our MSP, which is either service or vertical specific. What I found is when you are marketing managed IT services, a lot of times it falls on deaf ears. When people are trying to lead in with dark web monitoring as their lead-in marketing collateral, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, there's no business person on the planet who's like, I'm really concerned about dark web monitoring. Like, they don't understand what that is. Like, I get you got to sell it once you have the lead, right? You got to get the lead with something exciting. They understand VoIP.
Mm-hmm.
Go lead in with VoIP. Don't just sell them a system, but you got to get the conversation going somehow. So we break it into service specific: VoIP, Microsoft 365, co-managed, cybersecurity, all of the kind of least common denominator services, because that's what people tend to gravitate to when it comes to outbound and inbound marketing. It's specific challenges, specific services. And on the flip side, everybody says you got to target a vertical. I totally agree with that. If an MSP is totally vertical specific, they have a huge advantage. We never did that, but it is a huge advantage. So we started posting the campaigns that are vertical specific. And that sounds great. And I think what most marketing people would do when they think of vertical specific is they would just start creating content around lawyers and healthcare and whatever.
Yeah.
And that would be ineffective, because they would be putting their spin on what they think the lawyer should care about, or what the healthcare should care about. They'd be talking about HIPAA all day long. What we do is I literally pay people to spend 30 minutes with me. I just did a LinkedIn post where it's like, I'll pay someone $500 to spend 30 minutes with me if they're the owner of an accounting firm, because it's priceless for me. And we ask them questions about what they actually care about. That's where the campaigns come out of. What is the owner of the firm actually caring about? Not what we think they care about. Like, we did those interviews with the law clients, and they were like, we like that we can open offices easily. It's like, cool. Didn't know that. That's going in the campaign. Like, we like to be certified, or we'd like to look at the compliance of the bar, the Florida bar, or the US bar, or whatever. Cool. That's going in. The stuff they actually care about, not dark web monitoring and stuff we love to communicate when it's falling on deaf ears.
Well, I think what I'm hearing from you there, and it's really important, is you're talking about the outcomes now, right? What are the things that the people want to accomplish, and leading the marketing from that perspective, instead of kind of that feature-led, sales, or when you say what we think is important doesn't matter, it's so true. I mean, what we consider important is what they want to pay us to be behind the scenes doing for them.
Yes.
Well, and I think to your,
sorry, go ahead, Tim.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I mean, to your point, there's so much general content out there, and it's just not, people don't take the time to go that one extra step and really find out what the issues are. So that's great that you're doing that. You just don't hear of it that much, especially in this industry.
Yeah. Like I remember one point, early on, the owner of Altex, like, hey, we just added OPIC in. How do we sell this? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, well, how do we sell OPIC? I'm like, that's not something you sell. That's something you add into your base package. Now, the outcome of OPIC is what? Better documentation. So if they go down, we can get them up quicker. Like, that's fine. We can add that into our talking points in the sales, but I'm not going to be marketing OPIC. And I see MSPs do that where they market stuff where it's like, what are you doing? That is so irrelevant to your target market. It's funny.
It is amazing what what sometimes people are thinking about, when it comes to marketing in those regards. Like even with our platform, VCIO Toolbox, customers will be like, oh yeah, I'm letting my customers know we're using you. And I'm like, don't brand it yourself. This is just your platform to be a better leader. I want you to know about me. I could care less about the customer knowing about me. They should be knowing about you. So, you got to really, I love what you're doing in the sense that it's really think about the other side of the table. What do they care about? What do they care about? What do they care about? And market to that.
Yeah. And it's almost like 70% of, I'm talking a lot about social media. Marketing is a lot more than that. Like if someone gets into a campaign, there's 10 different fields there. And almost every campaign, some have 11 or 12. Because there's direct mail, there's telemarketing scripts, there's remarketing ads, there's motion graphic videos, there's social media posts, there's infographics, there's blogs. A real campaign is so multifaceted that if a team had to build it, it's going to take them a month. And so we take that off the plate of the MSP. And that's like, obviously it's super important. I actually totally forgot where I was going with that point. But either way, campaigns.
It's all good because you've been communicating.
Welcome to our world.
But let's be clear. You're communicating some gold here because you're spot on what the issue is. Hey, I can't get it done, right? What ends up happening is that marketing paralysis happens, right? And MSP says we got to do it. Then they start seeing all the things they got to do tactically, and as a result, not much gets done. And then it's a offhanded post every once in a while on LinkedIn or Facebook. It's nothing that stays consistent. And Tim and Robb, you guys echo in on this, but I think we've seen that all of marketing and sales is about consistency and showing up in the same manner over and over.
You definitely got to put in the work. You can't do the lazy liking on LinkedIn, right? You got to do more than that. You got to engage, and you really got to put in the work there. And to your point, Taher, if you go in and just start trying to do tactics without having your strategy beforehand, it's a waste. Take the time, learn the strategy, and then apply different tactics to what you're trying to do on any of them, right? On any of the, the multi-channel marketing approaches out there. But I totally agree that like you could just go all over the place, right? If you don't have your strategy in place.
And there's so many out there that they just MSPs. I mean, so many MSPs will work with. They either have a marketing person on staff or they'll work with an outsourced marketing company, and they just don't give it enough time. It's so much about patience and consistency, and we've definitely seen a trend, and I'm sure you have too, where there's plenty of MSPs out there where they don't give it the 12 months that they really need to show the results that they expect.
That's spot on. And that's what you said is so spot on. It's like time. To me, that's one of the most important things in marketing. It's not even spend, because we've historically spent very little in advertising, very little on telemarketing, no on acquisition. It's the time. It's the time to go to the events. It's the time to hold events. It's time to hold the webinars. It's a time to post out content and improve content. It's time more than anything. And I'm not hating on agencies because I still use agencies for certain things like setting up my Facebook remarketing. I didn't want to do that myself. I'm going to hire a specialist, an agency to do that. But it's going to be hourly and it's going to be a specialist thing, right? When you outsource everything to an agency, you only get so much time, usually 2 to 4 hours a week.
Mhm.
If it was up to me to grow my MSP with 2 to 4 hours a week, someone came in for 2 to 4 hours a week in my business and then left, it's going to take forever to get real results. Whereas if I get a coordinator, that's 40 hours a week, literally 10x the amount of time. So even if they don't know what they're doing, they're going to catch up pretty damn quickly. And that's why, to me, when it comes to marketing, time really is like strategy, of course, but time over strategy, because someone can just spend a bunch of time doing 1 or 2 tactics and they're going to get results over 2 to 4 hours a week doing all the things very limitedly. And, Tim, you mentioned something on our last call that just like blew my mind. And it was like, y'all found somewhere that like, if a company doesn't have like a good inbound or a good marketing presence, their sales process, which you guys do so well, is less effective. And that was wild.
Extremely.
I can see that though, now that you've said it, I can see the reality of that.
Yeah, the difference is, it really is staggering. I mean, you're looking at, we've got 1 million calls that we evaluated this from. For the MSPs out there that have a salesperson but don't have any marketing behind them, it's 337 calls to get 1 appointment. If you've got squared away, consistent marketing campaigns going, it's 151 calls to 1 appointment. It just, it's mind blowing.
That is mind blowing. I need to like put that on my site somewhere.
Yeah.
We can both use that.
So
yeah,
I know we're getting near our time, and we want to make sure, Taher, that all our listeners understand really. So what is the core offering of MSP Camp and how can they get involved with you? So, kind of tell us a little bit about, if I'm a startup MSP or somebody that's kind of in the early stages, how can you, what should they do and how should they engage with you?
Yeah. So it's kind of funny. We do a area lock. So in US, it's county. In other countries, it's city, or at least a 30-minute drive from a member. And so a lot of counties are locked. A lot of areas are locked. So a lot of times people want to join and they can't, which is a bummer. So I think first step is if someone is interested, go see if your area is open first before you even put any more time of mind to us, and get on the wait list if it's not. But we did roll out a Scout Plus membership that's much cheaper and it doesn't have a county lock. So we're now building that out pretty heavily. We've doubled our team and design team to make sure we can add Scout Plus, which is the $40 membership, to be as robust as the Ranger, which is 100, and Leader, which is 300. So the primary difference is it doesn't have a county lock, because I didn't realize how quickly counties would lock up, honestly. But that's a non-negotiable for me. I need, I want people that want that lock to have it.
Perfect.
Very cool.
Perfect.
Okay.
So I'm assuming we're going right over to mspcamp.com, correct?
Yeah. Actually, so it's msp-camp.com, but one of our members actually did buy mspcamp.com when it opens up. So you can go to mspcamp.com and it will route to our main site. Thanks to one of our kind members who just bought it for us. So thank you.
That's awesome.
Cool.
That's
That's
a good story
fan
right there.
Now, right there, that is about the epitome of customer love.
Yeah.
Right? When they're looking out for your benefit, that's a home run.
I was like, dude, you just made my whole life. Like, he just listens to podcasts. Like, hey, I heard you couldn't get it, so I bought it for you. I was like, yes.
That's too
Look
funny.
at that testimonial.
That's the best. All right, fellas, we're kind of running up to our time here. Just want to let everybody know that anybody who's looking to get a hold of Taher, we will have his MSP-camp.com link on the LinkedIn profile page, and with this episode will be up on MSPbusinessschool.com as well. And I wish everybody the best. We got to get back down to the trade show floor and do some meet and greets.
Yeah.
Good luck, guys.
All right.
All right.
Taher, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah,
and we look forward to seeing you some more during Pitch It.
Oh, man. Appreciate you guys having me on. Have a great one. See you guys.
Yeah, you too.
Take care, fellas. Okay, bye.